The Reverend Dr. David Clark.
Oh, Mr. Chair. What an hard act to follow. I mean, I think Mr. Farfoy has put his finger on something there that warrants further consideration. It does feel like the government has been here involved in a cover-up. I mean, I know he's put it up for debate, but just from the cheap seats, it does feel a little like there might be something that's not quite above board going on there. I wanted to speak about SSC a little and the way it has investigated the MB payroll fiasco and other associated fiascos. A little bit of background. We found out in the last month or so that the MB payroll system has not been paying people appropriately for a number of years.
Which minister?
And that is Minister Joyce's responsibility. He is the Minister of Economic Development who is responsible for the Ministry of Business. My colleague asks if it's Nova, new. He is responsible for fixing a few things around the place and appears not to have done quite as diligent a job as one might have hoped from a government that has been here now for going on 8 years. And so what has transpired, what has come to light is the way in which the MB have not been paying their staff correctly, despite being the very organisation in New Zealand who are responsible for making sure everyone else pays their staff correctly. The MB payroll system has not been working, we learn, since the ministry was set up. Since a couple of ministries were taken together, a new payroll system was created out of a merger of several payroll systems, and since that time, staff have not been paid correctly. Police had a similar issue, and they have now paid, we're told, over $30 million in back pay, $30 million, because they were not paying their staff correctly. They have admitted error, they've looked into it. The SSC said that it looked into these issues, it started looking into these and similar issues in 2014. And Mr. Speaker, my question and my concern is whether the SSC has been doing its job correctly, whether it's been resourced correctly to do that job, and whether it is competent from here on in to deal with the fallout that has been and is being created on an ongoing basis. Because we have seen very little action from the Minister, Stephen Joyce, who now has said that he understands the problem that his department has. What he hasn't said, 6 months on from being advised that his department has set up an inquiry into this matter, 6 months on he has no estimate, none whatsoever, of what this is going to cost the Ministry of Business. He has none. He has no idea. He doesn't know whether it's going to be $30 million like it was in police, or less, or more. And what is worse, until his ministry gets it right, it's very hard for them to then go around waving their finger at others. So we've since learned that Fonterra, a little outfit called Fonterra, and another one called McDonald's in New Zealand are investigating their payrolls in case they have similar errors. We know that New Zealand Post went through the court system to address similar errors all the way to the Court of Appeal. And the government does not seem to have made any estimate of how widespread this problem is that it is overseeing. The SSC does not seem to be resourced sufficiently. When the SSC was asked whether they had confidence that all government departments were complying with the law, that it had sought and received assurances. It was not willing to go that step further and say that it had itself examined those payrolls to see that they were complying with the law. So we had the deeply hypocritical, if I can say, situation where the ministry responsible for overseeing the law has itself been in breach of that very same law. And this points to a government that is in disarray. It points to a government, if it doesn't believe that that is a real issue, that is out of touch with ordinary and middle New Zealanders. Now this government that has not estimated that, has known about the problem, it has been revealed, since 2010. The Minister Michael Woodhouse admitted that in 2010 a group was set up to try to resolve this issue, to work through complications created by payroll systems that made it difficult for employers to comply with the law. But it seems that nothing has been done since 2010, and since that time the government has been in breach of the law.
The question is that reports of committees relevant to finance and government administration sector be noted. Those who are of that opinion will say aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it. The question now is that